Okay, family, it's been one of those days where the thing just kept going, so I could not stop like I wanted to be earlier and more alert. But it is what it is. So Proverbs is done in the context of life. So in the context of this life, we've been moving pretty fast. I'm going to, here's the scripture. We're in episode number 25. Which begins with a really interesting opening. So I'm going to read to you from one of my study Bibles what the opening says. I'm reading from the Women's Study Bible. In this verse 1, it says, it is the glory of, the heading. Verse 1 says, these also are Proverbs of Solomon, which the men of King Hezekiah of Judah copied. Now, let me read this to you. Hezekiah, king of Judah, reigned about 250 years after Solomon. That's a long time. Hezekiah walked the way of wisdom and thus became one of the greatest kings since Solomon. King Hezekiah led a revival in the land and restored temple. King Hezekiah led a revival in the land and restored temple services. He wisely commissioned a group of his counselors and scholars to compile the Proverbs of Solomon. Proverbs 25 to 27, those are the ones that Hezekiah had compiled. He put them together. He had his people put them together, some scholars. Many of these proverbs use the literary device of comparison. It compares one thing to another, right? To teach truth. A stated likeness between objects of different classes using like or as is often found. All right, so that's a good introductory verse. You know, it says a couple of things. What does it tell you? Is that it says that these are going to be Proverbs compiled by some scholars in Hezekiah time. Hezekiah, 250 years after, 250 years after King Solomon, which was the wisest king of Israel, was alive. Then Hezekiah came up. He patted himself after Solomon, used wisdom, and got some scholars to put together a thing for wisdom. Now, it also talked about how a lot of the times in these proverbs, it's going to be comparison of one thing to another. All right, so that's important for us to know as we go forward. If you're wondering, I'm growing out. I tried shaving a couple of days ago, and my God, I can't shave. I stopped shaving around the pandemic. I tried it again a few days ago, and my face was smooth, but after that, I was like, it irritates the heck out of me, so I'm going to grow my hair back out. Learn from your experience. That's another proverbial saying. Learn from your experience. All right, second verse. It is the glory of God to conceal a matter. It is God's glory to conceal a matter. It is the glory of a king to search out a matter. So kings are, a lot of times kings and God and king are compared, but on one side, the God, he doesn't show you everything. God doesn't disclose all of himself to all of humanity. He does it bit by bit. I think if God really showed all of the things that he knows and all that, we would just blow up. It would be too much for us to take in. But what he is doing is saying that it's God's. It makes God. It glorifies God to conceal matters rather than show you everything. And kings, it glorifies king to search out wisdom and to find wisdom, like what this guy Hezekiah did. That was a perfect thing that go there, because Hezekiah sought out the wisdom of Solomon, had it all compiled in a book, and now we're talking about it thousands of years later. So sometimes it's really wise to seek out the matter. like it said, seek out the wisdom. The king searches out a matter, but the God conceals a matter. All right. I have a note here. A group of scholars who served during Hezekiah's reign. And Hezekiah reigned 715 to 686 BC. You know the numbers go backwards before Christ. So 785 to 686 BC added some more of Solomon's 3,000 proverbs. 1 Kings 42 says he composed 3,000 proverbs and 1,500 songs. That's what Solomon did. To the former collection, 1 to 22:16. These men lived about 250 years after Solomon. Solomon's rule from 971 to 931 BC. This verse introduces chapter 25 to 26. So we got that. That's from number 1. Number 2, we went on down to number 2, and we're looking at the thing about a king. The proverb is affirming a simple fact that kings plan and decisions are beyond the comprehension of people. Kings plan and decisions are beyond the comprehension of people. While the king would make many things clear to the people, there are other things that are above their heads or too deep for them. They are unsearchable because of his superior wisdom, this caprice, and or his need for secrecy. Inscrutability is sometimes necessary to keep a firm grip on power. Yes, unsearchable. So it says the heavens are high and the earth is deep. So is the hearts of kings unsearchable. Now, I know there's a book called The 48 Laws of Power, and it teaches you how to maintain your rule, how to maintain your lead, how do you don't get thrown out of your leadership. And well, some of it is not really good. You wouldn't like it. You would be like, oh man, I can't stand this. But kings use these principles to keep established their principles, especially if they're not righteous kings. If they're not established on truth and right, then they use power plays to keep people in check. And sometimes things are king, when you're a king, you know things that regular people don't know. I can't imagine what the daily briefings are of President Barack Obama. All the daily briefings that he had every day, I can't even imagine the things he heard. And I wouldn't even want to know that. That's why his hair turned gray, because he could hear all that stuff and we couldn't. It's inscrutable. All right. As the heavens are high and the earth is deep, so the heart of kings are unsearchable. Remove the dross from silver and material. Remove from the silver and material. Slow down, Omar, read it correctly. Remove the dross from the silver and material, for the silversmith will emerge. Right. So when you're doing that, when you're dealing with silver, you put it in like something that can melt it. It has to get up to almost 2,000 degrees to be melted. But when you do that, the dross, the stuff that doesn't belong there, comes out of it. The impurities come out. You want to have impurities out of your silver. Now that's all to say. It's trying to set you up for something else it's ready to say, but it made me think about, I should look up at least what dross means. What is dross? Dross means something regarded as worthless or rubbish. So when you're using these hot metals and you melt them, just to remove the dross, those things that are worthless and rubbish, right? So now we put it back in the context of the scripture, and it said, remove the dross, the unwanted, undesirable things from silver, and materials that come along with it. That's those kind of materials, right? Yes. Yeah, you want it to be purified completely. For the silversmith will emerge. Remove the wicked from before the king, and his throne will become established. So just like the dross is compared to wicked. The wicked person is a worthless person because all it does is cause confusion and calamity and hardship and pain. So removing dross from silver is like removing the wicked from a kingdom, right? And a throne will be established, just like the silversmith's pure silver will emerge. The throne will be established. That's what this is talking about. Now we're going to number 6. Do not honor yourself before the king, and do not stand in the place of great men. All right. If you know that you are not a king or a leader or the pastor or whoever the head, if you know you're not that, and there's a table set, don't go and sit in the pastor's seat. Don't go and sit at the don't try to put yourself up like you somebody, and you are somebody, but you're not somebody in that kingdom or in that realm, right? So there's some things that we have to do. We have to prepare ourselves. We have to be invited into places of honor. We don't just take places of honor for ourselves. We are invited into those places of honor. They say, sit there, then you can stay there. But if you just go take the seat, or just try to go someplace and be, trying to puff yourself up like you somebody, you might get put out. Security might be taking you out, right? So you want to use that kind of wisdom when you go to different places. Know your place, and then get in your place. And then if the king or the leader or the CEO want to invite you up, they invite you closer, right? And then you'll know you're there because you got invited by the head person in charge. 7. For it is better for him to say to you, come up here, than to put you lower before a prince, whom your eyes have seen. Now this is deep. This is what I was saying. That instead of going in there boasting and trying to put yourself up, and you're going to take a seat somewhere where you're not supposed to, it's better for the king to say, "Come up here," than for you to get say, "Oh no, now this seat is for somebody else. Why don't you move over there? Go back to the kiddie table." No, that's too hard. But you know what I'm saying. You get the point. Proverbs give you a lot of wisdom of just how to do daily, everyday things, right? Number 8. Do not go hastily into litigation, or what you will do afterwards. Do not go hastily into litigation, or what will you do afterward when your neighbor puts you to shame? So if you don't have a strong case before you go to a court, if you're going to bring a case against your neighbor, you need to have a strong case. Don't come to court with some weak, undocumented, unproven claim, and then think that it's going to be all right. No, you're going to get embarrassed in court if you do that. So don't go hastily. Make sure you plan your litigation, and make sure the litigation is based on fact. Don't go suing people without knowing, whether you even have the right to sue them, or the facts that you're suing them about are good and righteous facts. Number 9. When you argue a case with your neighbor, do not reveal the secret of another person. All right, right. At least the one who hears it put you to shame, and your infamy will never go away. What is that saying? Basically, that's saying this. It's basically saying that don't go and well, let me make sure I got it right. Oh yeah, don't go into a court case and then started throwing people under the bus. That's how they say it. There's one organization I was in, revealing secrets that not needed to be said. Don't go in there and talking about stuff they told you in confidence, and then you go on a court floor and tell what they told you in confidence. How can you be a leader? How can you be a trusted person if every time that you get in hot water, you want to clear yourself, you go and drop dimes on people? Oh my God. Then you're going to be known for a person who just, you drop dimes. You can't be trusted. Then I wouldn't even want to invite you to any of my gatherings. I wouldn't no longer put any trust in you, because you don't know what to do with trust. You betray people for trusting in you. So we want to change. We don't want to be that kind of person. We don't want to be somebody who betrays the trust of others. When especially when we're in the courtrooms and we're trying to do something, just be cool. Let God defend you. If you're standing on righteousness, He'll defend you. If you're not, then well, maybe you shouldn't be doing what you're doing. Yeah, we did that. Now, verse 11 says, like apples of gold and settings of silver, so is a word skillfully spoken. Like an earring of gold and an ornament of fine gold, so is a wise reprover to the ears of the one who listens. So what is that saying? Basically is that when you say wise words, or you say good words and righteous words in the right place in the right time, You know, I don't know if you ever had somebody come by and say just just what you need to hear at that time. It just soothed you, cooled you down, and made you feel better. You know, and that's what God would want for us to do. It says, oh yeah, and then let me get this last part because there are two parts of that one. The other one part, yeah, like an ear and a goal and the fine. So yeah, so now when you correct, when you have wise words and you so a wise reprover, when you're correcting someone, you have to do some verbal reprimand or whatever. If you do it to a wise person, they're going to listen to it, and that's going to, and listening to you is going to be like getting a glass of cold snow in harvest time. Like you out there peeling up the field, you doing on the field, somebody bring you an ice cold thing of water. Ooh, it feels so good. So that's what it's saying. When you have righteous words, when you have good words, and you say it in the right way, and you bring truth to people in a way that they can receive, oh man, you're going to be like a refreshing in the time of harvest. So is a faithful messenger to those who send them, for he refreshes the heart of his master. Like so, yeah. So another part of that is this: when you are a faithful person, and someone asks you to give a message or carry a message to them, and you do that so faithfully, then you're like a thing of refreshing. You make the person who sent you to give the message. That's good. You don't change the message. You give them what they said, and then they can love on you. They can encourage you. They can be blessed by you because you would have made them feel good, and you've done that which is good and helpful. Now this one, like, let me see, 13. At least I have a note here. Let's see what my notes say. My notes is number 13. Yeah. A wise rebuke that is properly received is of lasting value to the receiver. The rebuke in the ear of the obedient student is like an ornament of fine jewelry. You correct them, even if you have to do it hard. It's like you wearing some nice jewelry. You putting on like a gold bust down or a gold chain. Because your words, because you lovingly correcting, you're lovingly helping them out. So that's really good. We want to be those kind of people. Like number 14. Like cloudy skies and wind that produce no rain. Ooh. So is the one who boasts of a gift not given. All right. So what is that talking about? Let me read this. I think that they did it good. The emblem now is one of clouds and winds that would be expected to produce rain. They gain attention and raise people's expectations, but prove to be disappointing when no rain is forthcoming, and hence could be thought of as deceitful. So it's talking about, first it's arguing this thing from nature. First of all, it says, when you see clouds in the sky, you're like, oh man, and especially if you're from, oh man, rain's about to come, oh, it's about to be good. And then all of a sudden, nothing happened, they just moved past. You get disappointed. You're like, why did you come in that form? You tricked us, right? So this is what it's saying regarding rain is, and that's like wisdom. That's like understanding. So it says that. So it says, like cloudy skies and wind that produce no rain, so is one who boasts, a braggart, of a gift not given. He don't even have a gift. He don't even know what he's talking about, but he out there boasting and bragging. It means to praise oneself or boast. The description of a windbag seems appropriate in this context. A windbag, right? A gift of falsehood. This would mean that the individual brags about giving a gift when there is no gift. They ain't give no gift, ain't give no tithe, don't give no offering, but they bragging about it like they did. Well, I gave $1,000 in the $1,000 line. You know how we do. Father, have mercy. Help us today. Verse 15. Through patience, a ruler can be persuaded, and a soft tongue can break a bone, right? So basically, and you have found, okay, so basically it's saying that if you be cool and you be patient, and you're trying to persuade a leader or a teacher or somebody in authority, just do it. Be patient. Don't rush it. Don't make them have to make any rash decisions. Just be real cool about the situation, and who knows, you might actually win their favor. You might actually cause them to change. Yes. Yeah, and a soft tongue can break a bone. Instead of going out hard on people and rebuking them and talking harsh and all that kind of stuff, talk to people kindly. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, I can see how you got that way. Now, what? You stupid. No, that's not wisdom. if you want to persuade people, you want to change things, you want to get some stuff, you want to become an influencer, say things nice in a nice way so that people can get it. Say things with love, right? Instead of with hatred and meanness. This other one talks about uh, too much of a good thing can really make you sick. So don't, it's good long as it's in balance. Too much of it can have you, in the hospital somewhere. And that's for all kinds of things. So we have to have balance in our understanding and our awareness. Here we go again. Let's look at it. You have found honey. Eat only what is sufficient for you. Lest you become stuffed with it and vomit up. If you have found some good wine, don't drink too much of it, or you might end up throwing up. Yeah. So here it is. Verse 16 says, the Proverbs warn that anything overindulged, that's why I was talking about the wine, or the beer, or the alcohol, whatever it is, I saw somebody who got over intoxicated on marijuana or cannabis. I was like, I didn't even know that was possible. Yeah, it's possible. The proverb warns that anything overindulged in can become sickening. The verse uses formal parallelism to express first the condition and then its consequences. It teaches that moderation is wise in the pleasures of life. Do everything in moderation. Don't do too much, don't do too little, but do everything in moderation. And you're going to be all right. Yeah. 17. Don't set foot too frequently in your neighbor's house, lest he become weary and he hate you. Now this one, it's kind of hard. So don't be always over your girlfriend or your boyfriend's house all the time. Don't be always in their business. Don't come so often that then they be like, man, do you ever have a home? Do you have a place to sleep? Why are you always over here? Instead of make your visits far and in between, so that when you come, they see you as a blessing and not as a burden. That's what it's saying. You might not have knew that being over somebody's house, going to their dorm room all the time, or going to somebody's house all the time you might think, oh, that's cute. They really want me to come over there. They might be kind to you, but after a while, they'd be like, don't you got a place to go home? I want to have some peace today. And then they start treating you crazy and acting fool, and you wonder why it happened. You were over their house too much. You were too busy in their body, in the body of their house, right? Here's one way of saying it: make your foot rare. So the idea, don't set foot too frequently. Make your foot rare at that person's house, right? The idea is it's a command, right? Make oneself foot rare would mean to keep the visits to a minimum, as well as making them valuable. Things increase in value according to the nuances of this world when they are rare. I gotta fix that, Mr. E. Rare. You have rare jewels, that's why they make them so valuable. Sometimes you can be rare and being all up in your neighbor's face or in your people's, some boyfriends or girlfriends don't even know. That's a problem. Some boyfriends think they need to always be in their girlfriend's face, or or vice versa. That might not be the case. You coming over too often might be the point where they like, you know what? I don't need that. I don't need somebody always in my business, always in my face, all the time. Give me some time I can just be by myself and miss you. So that when I miss you, then I want to be with you again. I hope I'm helping somebody with that. 18. Like a club or a sword or a sharp arrow, so is the one who testifies against his neighbor as a false witness. 18. False witnesses are compared to deadly weapons, because they can cause the death of innocent people. I'm going to leave that alone. That's enough. Enough said for that one. Like a bad tooth or a foot out of joint, so is confidence in an unfaithful person at the time of trouble. When you need a person to be faithful, when you need a person to really come through for you, and then you don't do it, you're not faithful, you fall out, you don't do it right. It's like, that's a worthless situation. It's like a bad tooth or a foot out of joint. So the confidence, they lose confidence in the person who can't be a good person, and you fall out in times of trouble. What happened with me today, I had the most crazy toothache. I was like, I had to, that's part of the reason why I couldn't get started. I'm doing this earlier I was sleeping for an hour. I took one of them 800 milligrams of ibuprofen or something, whatever it was, to knock out that pain. And we don't want to be like that. We don't want to be considered like a pain in the behind. Oh, good. I corrected myself. I didn't want to say what I really had in my mind to say, because that would have been kind of crass. But don't be a pain in the tuchus. Don't be a pain in the behind. Be a faithful witness. Be a faithful person in a time of trouble. Actually be there. Be confident. Don't flake out when they need you. Verse 20. Like the one who takes off a garment on a cold day, or like vinegar poured on soda, so is one who sings songs to a heavy heart. Now, I don't know why you would want to sing songs to a heavy heart. I don't know why you would want to do that at all. But if you decided to do that, that would be not the right time to do it. A heart that's depressed, a heart that's sad, and you like, happy in Jesus, 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 and they sad, they depressed, but you say, happy, come on. You just irritating the heck out of the people. They don't want to hear that. Not when you're depressed, not when you're sad. Wait till the right time and put that on. Then you can play your happy music, or you can sing your happy song. After you allow them to work through whatever emotional frustration that they may be going through at that particular time that's causing them to be down in the dumps. Give them a space. Give them the space. And don't try to do it too quickly. Cheer them up. Like, I'm assuming you're trying to cheer the person up, but don't do it. This XXLXX, that's called the Septuagint. That's 50 is L in Roman numerals, and X is 10. So the 50, 60, 70 Septuagint. 70 scholars help to do one of the biblical translations. The Septuagint has much a longer reading. It says, like vinegar is bad for a wound, so a pain that afflicts the body afflicts the heart. Like a moth in a garment, they eat up holes in the garment. Or worm in wood, they eat up and it makes the wood no longer good, not strong. So the pain of a wounded heart. So don't go out there trying to sing and make it all happy when it's not happy. It is inappropriate and counterproductive to sing songs to a heavy heart. One needs to be sensitive to others, right? That's good. Then an evil spirit from the Lord came upon Saul. He was sitting in the house with his spear in his hand while David was playing the lyre. Okay. Yeah. Now this guy, David tried to, that king tried to kill David because he was trying to cheer his spirit up, but he wasn't ready. He started hating on David altogether. So this 21 and 22 is a whole thing. Let's read this. If your enemy is hungry, give him food to eat. If your enemy is hungry, give him food to eat. Is this making sense to you? If your enemy is hungry, give him food to eat. It's called counterintuitive, what we're about to experience. Counter. It doesn't make sense, but it actually does make sense in the end. If your enemy is hungry, give them food to eat. If he is thirsty, give him water to drink, right? For you will heap coals of fire on his head, and the Lord will reward you for you giving him food and being nice to a person who you know is your enemy and don't like you at all. So the imagery of burning coals represents pangs of conscience, more readily affected by kindness than by violence. So if you come at your enemy with kindness and you start doing well, you treat them right and all that kind of stuff, then they be like, why am I? They get almost ashamed because they hate you, but you loving on them. So it's like putting coals of fire on their head, and the coals of fire would be like the fire of justice, the fire of correction, the fire of shamefulness, because they're not treating you like you treating them. You talking about behind their back, they loving you all front, man. Oh my God, I know it's a couple of situations like that. It's just really ugly. It says this, you read this, the imagery of burning coals represents pangs of consciousness and more readily affected by the kindness than violence. You come at them with violence, they cool, they happy, because then you justify them treating you bad. But if you come at them with love, then they got a problem. Now they're convicted. Now they don't know what to do with you. Now they're like, should I have done that to that person? And then what did that scripture say? It said God will reward. God is going to reward you for not treating them like they treating you. Oh, Father, in the name of Jesus. That's a revelation all by itself. Some of you, we already talked about the Proverbs, always talking about vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, I will repay. You don't get them back. Let God fight your battles. He does it good. He won't have any guilt on his hand. Won't feel bad afterwards. Because if you do it wrong, we heard another proverb that if you start laughing at the calamity of people, God can take that same thing that you laughing at the calamity and stop doing that, and then make your life more miserable because you don't have sense enough to love people even in their pain or when they're going through stuff. 23. Did that already? Yeah, 22. 23. The north wind brings forth rain, and a gossiping tongue brings forth an angry look. The north wind brings forth rain, that's good. And a gossiping tongue is a spirit, right, who brings forth angry looks. It's just going to happen. Good wind brings forth rain. Gossiping tongues make people mad and angry. You know that. Easy. 24. It is better to live. Let me read this note from this other one up here. Heaping coals of fire. The second consequence of treating the enemy with kindness is that the Lord will reward the act. The fact that this is a promise shows that the instruction here belongs to the religious tradition of Israel. Just like I said, you talk about people and you be treating them bad, God got you and He'll reward you if you keep your head and don't go tit for tat with them. It is better to, okay, now you know this already. It is better to live in the corner of a housetop than in a house in the company of a quarrelsome wife or a quarrelsome husband. Nobody want to be with you. You always arguing, always complaining, always tripping. They want to be outside. I was like, my wife and I saw a man outside his house early in the morning sleeping in a car. And I said, that's probably the case where he was getting worn out. He'd rather go sleep in the car than to be in a house with somebody just, complaining and railing and negative comments all the time. That's not good. 25. Like cold water to a weary person, so is good news from a distant land. Yes. I'm going to let that stand by itself. Good water, weary, tired person, good news from a person that came along. From good news from far away is always good. It's refreshing like that cold water. Like a muddy spring and a polluted well, so is a righteous person who gives way before the wicked. What does that say? Now, before the wicked people unduly influence you to get and gather into their wicked ways, you were like a pristine water. You were like a fountain of water. But then when you got caught up with the wicked, because you instead of coming against them, you got with them and you didn't resist them. You fell in with them. Man, that's a problem, right? Not good. It's like muddy in the water of a crystal clean, area, water. Then you throw mud on it. Stick with righteousness. Keep your hands clean. Keep your heart pure. That's what it's saying. Don't get caught up because then you become a polluted thing and nobody wants to be around stinky, nasty, polluted water. Right? So to give away, to move, this probably refers to the integrity of the righteous being lost, comparing to it moving off course. So it's like when the integrity of a righteous person moves off course, it's a problem. It's not good. Keep your hands clean. Keep your heart pure. Stay honest. It is not good to eat too much honey, nor is it honorable for people to seek their own glory. Do I have any help on that? No. Basically, what's that saying? Don't go around boasting on yourself. Let other people boast on you, but you boasting on yourself. It's not good. Let that go. Just keep on doing good, and eventually people will see it. Even if they never see it, you're going to be rewarded by God in this life and in the life to come. So don't get into the boasting, bragging. Can you see I did this for you? I'm somebody. I'm special. 28. Like a city that is broken down and without a wall, so is a person who cannot control his temper. Man, isn't that something? Let me read this right here for you. A person whose spirit, his ruka, a person whose spirit lacks restraint, you don't have any holdback, no restraint. A person who lacks restraint is one who is given to outbursts of passion, who lacks self-control. This person has no natural defenses, but reveals his true nature all the time. The proverb is straight. The proverb is stating that without self-control, a person is vulnerable like a city without defense. Wow. All right, you guys. That was a quickie. We got in and we got out. Listen, I love you and there's nothing you can do about it. Would you do me a favor? Would you keep your hands clean and your heart pure? Because you cannot go wrong without that. And then I'll know you've been acting like a wise person. This is Omar A. Muhammad with the antidote for stinking thinking through the book of Proverbs. God bless. And I'm out.